This is Countable. You can get short summaries of bills in the House and Senate, along with arguments for and against the bills, how they impact you, and how much the legislation costs. You can join the debate through the app by voting on the bills, connect to your member of Congress directly through the app, and invite your friends to vote also. A really neat feature, there's a side-by-side voting comparison so you can see how you voted and how your representative voted. It's free to download for iPhone, and according to TechCrunch, it's coming to Android soon. Definitely a handy app going into the November election.
Our esteemed elected officials, the same ones who would never dare tell a lie and who would never think for a second about hiding anything from the fine and upstanding people who would allow them to serve your needs. One of the things they count on every day is that you, the voter, you, will not always remember every little thing they do or say or become involved in. And they also know you don't look very deep into all those bills and documents. Boy, that may be about to change. Welcome into MidPoint, the CEO and founder of Countable, a new app designed to create complete havoc in a lawmaker's life. Bart Myers joins us today. Bart, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you very much for having me. We're thrilled to be here.
Thanks a lot, Bart. You've created a real problem here, you guys in Washington, D.C. right now. Where did the idea of this come from, other than the fact that most people still don't seem to have a clue what happens and what their elected officials are doing?
Yeah, the idea basically came from my co-founder and I were really frustrated with the fact that the bulk of the tools that are out there already really require you to sort of speak political, and we don't. We're not wonks. We don't. We don't spend all of our time watching C-SPAN. We wanted to get a quick view into what's happening in Congress and a way to tell our representatives if we think they're doing a good job or not.
But wouldn't you say that most millennials now, at least, don't speak political in the first place? So that's really who you're aiming at. And when I say speak political, sometimes they're not really sure of the actual issues themselves and kind of have to be told what they are.
They definitely come from I think a new perspective, a different perspective. They don't associate directly with political parties. They don't trust the kind of status quo from that standpoint. They're much more issue-driven, which is largely our focus as well. Our focus is not on a particular partisan viewpoint. It's on presenting the issues in the legislation as our representatives see it and forcing you, and it's not an easy job, to go in and make that call yourself.
Now, did I hear you say that you try not to be partisan on it, or as the representatives see it? Because that would seem to be a little bit of a counter problem there. One doesn't fit with the other.
Well, we try to present for any piece of legislation the pros and cons of that legislation.
Okay.
That's certainly not easy, but it's not as hard as it sounds either. It doesn't. Most of these pieces of legislation that come out can really be looked at from their merits.
All right. Now, do you have your phone handy, and do you have Countable on your phone right there?
I sure do.
Okay. Hold up. What kind of phone do you have there? I guess it's is it an iPhone? Okay.
Yes.
Now,
indeed.
so go ahead and just bring it up and show us exactly what it looks like when you're there, because I want to give people an idea. So it's an app that goes on smartphones or iPhones, both?
iPhone app. Any phone can open Countable through the website.
Okay.
So this is Countable, and you can obviously open it on a web browser as well.
Now,
the way it works.
Go ahead. Now, when you open it up, tell us, because there's a lot here, because let's face it, a lot of these pieces of legislation that you're talking about here, they're about 7,493 pages long, with about 97% of it being nothing more than filler. So tell us how you cut through all this here and give people an idea what's going on.
Absolutely. Well, all right. So what we do is we take a piece of legislation. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see it on the screen, so I apologize. But we take a piece of legislation. We come up with a catchy and engaging title for it to lure you in. We write an argument in favor and opposed, and then we give you a lot of detail on it. We tell you what it's about. We tell you how much it's likely to cost. We tell you who it impacts, and we provide you with links to get more information, and then, of course, the ability to vote yes or no. All of this information is largely sourced from the official sources, the bill text itself, the bill write-ups that come out of the Nonpartisan Congressional Research Service, the budget estimates that come out of the Congressional Budget Office, and then we'll also look for statements from the sponsoring representatives or the folks who are opposing.
So it will give you then, if I'm hearing you correctly, you go for what the bill is detailed as far as the individual who is sponsoring it. So you are in many ways giving a bit of a partisan look at it, not a nonpartisan look or a quick review. Or are you doing that?
Well, we try to provide both access to both sides of the legislation for sure. And you know, the other thing that I think is really interesting is that we also provide a way for our users to tell us if they think we got it right, and if they have suggestions, they can send those suggestions in, and they do. We have a regular editorial review meeting where we go through the feedback we've gotten from our users and really try to incorporate and make our process of doing these write-ups even better. But we definitely encourage that feedback.
All right, now why is this necessary? Because it would seem to a lot of people to be simply that, as I mentioned earlier, some people don't know what it is. The politicians hope that people don't realize what they're doing all the time. They kind of hope to fly under the radar. So why is this necessary? Is the electorate today just not, and boy, please don't take this the wrong way. I know I'm going to get hammered for this by somebody down the road, that some people are just not smart enough to do it when it comes down to reading it and looking at it, so this is the quick way to get it done?
I don't think that's necessarily the core problem. I mean, I think there's a lot of problems here. I think there's we are in a 24-hour news cycle. We're in information overload. There's a lot of complex problems that exist today that did not exist when this country was founded and the system was originally created. At that time, we were not a global superpower, and we weren't dealing with the kinds of challenges that we are today. And at the same time, our representatives were essentially representing a much smaller number of people and had perhaps direct access to their representatives. And so what we're trying to do is really bring that home again, give you direct access to your representative, and do it in a way that actually is reasonably easy for your representative to, in fact, engage with you and measure your impact as well.
Have you
right?
had
So
have you had any sort of response yet from? Because I must tell you, knowing that legislators are actually going to respond to and engage with voters, to some people who are in Congress and elected officials, that might be the scariest thing that could possibly happen in their life. So do you actually have congressmen out there now who are using this back and forth and talking to the constituents?
Absolutely. I got an email from one of my senators, Senator Boxer, today, thanking me for my contribution on a piece of legislation. It wasn't terribly personal, but you know, there's definitely a feedback loop there. I mean, essentially what we're doing is we're taking your votes and we're translating them into the system that our representatives are already using. So it goes into their electronic correspondence, and it gives them a reasonably easy way, one would hope, to respond back to their constituents, which is how it should be.
Aren't we getting to the point here where this is really convenient, but it's short, it's quick, it's simple, and that really is what a lot of people are looking for anyway? Cut out, as I mentioned earlier, the 99% of all the fluff that's sitting in there. Give me the meat, let me get to it, and that's the sort of generation that we have become and probably will become more of in the next decade or so?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that there's definitely nuance and complexity to some of this legislation, and it behooves us as citizens to really dig in, and in some cases, you know, really try to understand this issue and, you know, take our voting and our messaging, our representatives very seriously. And I think that's a great thing. I think that's a great thing for American democracy. And, you know, it's rewarding for us to be building a platform that supports that. No one really has.
Have you been able to tell yet if you get more Republicans or more Democrats downloading and using?
I don't know, and we don't ask. We're approaching this from a nonpartisan standpoint. We want to make this really an issue-driven product. How
successful has it been so far?
It's been extraordinarily successful. In the short time we've been live, we've sent now, our users, voters, have sent over 300,000 messages to Congress,
and
which really blows a lot of our initial models out of the water. I'm sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to say, is every congressman covered? Doesn't make it. You have all of them in there. You have all the connections.
They're all in there.
Can you tell us which one maybe has gotten the most hits, mail, responses? Any one particular stand out, or do you record that?
I believe it actually is Senator Feinstein, but I'm not. I don't have the numbers at my disposal at the moment. We've seen basically app use follow, largely sort of the population of the United States, and California being the most populous state. So.
You are already, Bart, I'm going to guarantee you right now, you're going to be loved by some and you're going to be the scourge of so many others if this starts to work, because people do not, the congressmen are going to be scared to death that people are going to talk to them that easily. It's a great idea, I have to tell you. And I'm going to go home and I'm going to download it today and I'm going to have to give it a try. So Bart, good luck with Countable is the app. I know it's available in all the various stores for the smartphones. We'll have folks check it out. Thanks a lot for your time and good luck.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. Later on this hour, that bright little star at the middle of our galaxy is about to throw another wrench into the global warming argument. And after the break, the Money Master has some potentially good news from the Fed on what American factories are turning out. We'll turn out a whole lot more as MidPoint continues.